Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the pros and cons of the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross plug-in hybrid. This is a big plug-in hybrid and it's also fairly cheap, as you can get it at 25,000 euros. The car starts just over 37,000 euros, and if you want to get it used, the best we were able to find is around 25,000 up to around 30,000. That's what you're looking at when it comes to the starting price of the car. So what do you actually get for that price? You get a car that's 4 meters and 54 long, 1 meter and 68 tall, and 1 meter and 80 wide. You can also see we have the blue color on here, which is laser blue, which can cost you 710 euros extra. And we also have the plug-in hybrid, just like in any other model that you have on here. You could theoretically also get 20-inch wheels, which you could also get in black, which looks pretty cool. And you also get full LED lights in the front, which is nice. And also a fairly interesting and distinct looking design, which not many cars have. And also a big engine, which is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, which is actually quite massive, but it only produces 98 horsepower. You also get 2 other electric motors, so a total of 3 motors. And this is going to have a combined power of 188 horsepower with 193 Newton meters, with a Vmax of 163 kilometers an hour. And that's actually going to get you from 0 to 100 quicker than it is claimed. And there you can hear it doesn't shift up because it only has 1 gear and doesn't sound the greatest, to be quite fair. 10.7, the previous one that we did was 10.51 or 59 was for you, and 10.9 is claimed, so still a decent rate. We did have a negative slope of 2.5%, and the previous one we had a negative slope of 1%, so that was even better. Still not a bad rate considering it's 10.9 claimed. So the engine layout and how it works is fairly interesting in this. We do have in the front have a 2.4 liter engine, which produces around 89 horsepower. Then we also have 2 different electric motors, one for the front and also for the back. There's 3 different ways that you can use those, which is interesting. So the first option would be to just completely drive in electric mode, which you can have. You have an EV button down there. If you have the battery charge up, you can obviously use that if you want, or you can also change the car into charge mode, so to charge up the battery and then to use the battery in the full EV mode as well. The second mode that you can use is you can basically have the engine charge up the battery, and then the 2 electric motors are going to use that charged up battery to power the car. So the combustion engine is always going to be on, but it's not going to produce any output, power output towards the wheels. That is all done via the 2 electric motors. And the third option is to basically let them all work together, per se. If you're driving higher, at higher speeds, the combustion engine is always going to be on. It's going to be basically putting out power output to all wheels. Then if there is extra power needed, then those 2 electric motors are going to be also implemented and just add that extra battery or the more power that is needed. That only obviously works if the battery is charged. If it's fully empty, that mode is not going to work for you. But you do have one main concern about it is, well, it's basically that you need a very, well, not a very powerful, but you need a fairly powerful engine. That's why you have a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine here, just to be able to get all of that power that you need in order to also charge batteries. Again, then you need 2, let's say, okay powerfully motors, which can again power a car which weighs 1.9 tons. And therefore you just need a very big engine which can also produce the amount of battery to charge up the battery, or power to charge up the battery, and then that battery needs to again be used by those 2 electric motors, which again need to be having a little bit amount of power output to be able to fully power this car. And therefore, I don't know if it's the best power layout that you want. A normal plug-in hybrid would have maybe just been a little bit easier and better to have. And you can also hear that makes the cabin really loud in the interior when you accelerate, for instance. That engine just kicks on because it's always going to be at that highest RPM to keep the momentum on the electric motor going, so that can actually power the car. That really makes for the engine to really dominate the interior sound, which is not a comfortable sound stage when you're driving in the interior, because it just makes it really loud. As soon as it goes off though, it's really quiet because it's going fully electric basically. You also get a battery that has 13.8 kilowatts an hour size, and you can see there's 2 ports in here. What are those two ports for? Well, you get an optional, let's say it fast charging in here, which is this right here, which is going to allow you to charge up to 19.6 kilowatts, which is very quick for a plug-in hybrid. And that's going to be able to charge it from 0 to 80% in 25 minutes. And that thing is called CHAdeMO type of charging, which I have actually never seen before. And therefore you're also going to have a fairly good consumption if that battery is charged. Mitsubishi claims 2 liters if you use the combination of both of them, which is really low. That's gonna, I think it was 2 liters and 17.5 kilowatts an hour, which is really nice. And if you just use your, if you basically have it right now, if you put it onto save and ride it basically normally, you can definitely get it down to around 6 liters, which is still a very good value considering the car is also 1.9 tons heavy, and it does have that 3 motors in total. If you drive the car normally, you can definitely get a consumption down to around 6 liters. If you drive a little bit more sporty and also don't care about the consumption, then you can see we're currently at around 11.3 liters because we also did do some brake tests. We did do 0 to 100 tests and generally driving a little bit more sporty. But 6 liters is definitely something if you have the battery not charged or have it right here as it is right now. If you are mainly using this car, for instance, driving around city or getting to work, which is maybe a longer distance, because the electric motor is going to allow you to get around 45 kilometers of range if you're driving just in city up to 55 kilometers. The interior is definitely a little bit dated. It did have a facelift in 2021, but in my opinion, it feels like a car that in maybe 2018, 2017, 2016, due to the fact that it is just fairly old. We have a heads-up display that goes up, which is nice, but it's obviously not integrated into the windscreen. You also have a fairly, well, you have a lot of plastic, but the quality is not that bad because you have like these carbon touches where you touch and then some good quality. One thing I really like is the center console. That quality is really, really nice. So wherever you basically have your hand rested, that's good quality. Other than that, not the best quality, but better than, for instance, I'd say a Volkswagen at some places. The other thing that is interesting is that you have almost 60 different buttons, or actually more than 60 different buttons, which is quite a lot. Which is nice because touch sensitive controls are always a little bit funky to use, but in here those buttons, they're just too many. It's a little bit overdone. For instance, it took me a long time to see how do I change the digital cockpit, well, the center part, but that's actually behind the steering wheel, and then there's buttons there where you can change the layout of that digital cockpit, which is really confusing to find at first. And in general, quite a lot of buttons, which is not that good. You have, well, it's not bad, but it's also not great because they're a little bit confusing to use. You do also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you do not have it wirelessly. You have that via cable, and we also have heated seat and also heated steering and also heated seats for the back, which is a nice touch as well. One thing that I'm also not a big fan of is that only the driver can automatically open and fold down, make the windows go down, but any other passenger is going to have to hold it down, so it's not automatic. And you also get an outlet in the back, which is a 1500 watt one, so you can basically plug anything in there, which is nice, so you can have that. But there are obviously also bad things about the car. For instance, the volume for the trunk is not that big. 359 up to 1108 is actually not that much, and you can see there's not much storage space down here. You could theoretically put your cables in there a little bit, but you can always have that box in there. You can see it's not that much space. And the other thing, I'm 1.80 meters tall. This thing is already hitting my head. I'm 5'11", so that's not that nice. And also a 77 centimeter high loading curb, which is fairly high, but it is fairly smooth, which is good. And you also get quite a lot of piano black in the interior, which is going to look bad after a long time. For instance, this, well, not after a long time. This has been 12,000 kilometers of damage.
No, that's a lot of damage!
You're going to need some freaking duct tape to cover that up because that does not look nice over the long term. So if you are getting a used one for this, definitely, well, yeah. And the braking distance of these tires are really bad, so let's actually check them out to see what I mean. Wow. And the stopping feels like freaking stopping on ice. That thing slides like a freaking sleigh. And 44 meters, exactly the same as we did just now. So really bad value when it comes to the freaking braking test, because that thing really does slide like a freaking sleigh. And here, when it comes to riding experience, the car does bend or lean a lot when it comes to turning. You can definitely feel you're getting pushed to the side here, so it's not stiff, therefore not sporty. But the suspension here is also fairly comfortable, which also makes it a little bit nicer to drive over a long distance. We do also have a drive mode selector, so you can also theoretically change it between 5 different modes. We have Eco, Normal, Snow, Gravel, and Tarmac. Tarmac being the sporty variant, and you can definitely hear power is going to be straight away, and that RPM is always going to be fairly high, and the motor is just going to have a way more direct power input. You do also have the gravel mode, which is pretty fun to use. Well, it's not fun to use, but it's going to allow you to do some more off-roading because the wheels are not going to start spinning or lose control quite quickly. So that's our final verdict on the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross plug-in hybrid. Well, it's a really cheap plug-in hybrid considering the amount of stuff that you get and also the range that you can get with it, which is around 45 kilometers. But you can charge with that fast charging fairly quickly, which is nice. And the price, you really can't complain, especially when you get it used for almost 25,000 euros, which is quite a nice price. The engine concept is a little bit interesting. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of it. It's interesting, but if it works, it is a fairly good concept. And design-wise, it's also something special. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.